growth or decline as a pie chart. When you see a percentage point, it seems natural to visualize it as a pie chart, but remember, pie charts are only meant to show a number out of 100, not an increase or decrease from a previous data point. When you think about data visualizations that show changes over time, they almost always are visualized through bar or line graphs. This is the right solution when there are multiple data points to consider. But if you're just showing a single percentage, a bar chart or a line graph may feel like overkill. In addition to this, when plotting data on a bar chart or a line graph, you need to know more than just the percentage change from one time period, say time period A, to time period B. You also need to know the data as it existed in time period A, which often isn't easy to find when you're simply told we saw an increase of 28% between time period A and time period B. While we could use Illustrator's graphing tool to show a 28% increase over an unknown original number, there are more efficient ways to do this. In fact, we can take advantage of our universal understanding of bar charts here without actually creating a bar chart. Use the Shape tool in Illustrator to create a rectangle. The initial rectangle you create should represent time period A. We know that there was a 28% increase over time period A, but don't actually know the number of time period A, which is fine. As long as you have a bar to represent time period A, you're in a good place. Next, copy the rectangle. I prefer to click while holding Alt or Option and drag to make a copy of an element. With your copy, simply right-click and choose Transform and Scale. Next, choose Non-Uniform from the radio buttons. Since my rectangles are horizontal, I'm going to alter the size horizontally by 128%. In other words, a 28% increase from the original. And there you have it. I've shown a 128% increase correctly. This can be done with a decrease as well. If it was a 28% decrease, for example, I would reduce the rectangle horizontally by 28% instead. Mistake number 3, forcing your audience to do the math. A quantigram is a data visualization method that combines rows of multiple identical pictograms to quantify a number. If you haven't heard the term quantigram before, that's okay, I made it up about 8 years ago. I was sick of explaining to clients that we could, quote, visualize a number with multiple male or female bathroom sign people. So I gave up and I created a word for it. Now, to be clear though, this method of visualizing information has been around for centuries. So I'm sure there have been plenty of other terms for it as well. Quantigrams are overused in data viz. In fact, too often designers are asked to find new and creative ways to visualize numbers that either work better as typography or could be visualized in a chart or a graph. This isn't to say that there isn't a place for a quantigram, but when they're used incorrectly, they can easily deter from proper visual communication. If your quantigram requires a key to bring context to the visualization, then it's not efficiently and effectively creating meaning like visual communication should. Instead, it forces a viewer to count and multiply just to get at the actual number being visualized. When producing quantigrams, make sure to only use them for single or 2-digit numbers, so that you don't need a key and can instead show exactly the number being visualized. For numbers 100 and over that can't be visualized in any other way, say a chart or a graph, use typography paired with a representative image to bring that data point to life. If you're not an illustrator and you need icons or pictograms for your designs, check out the immense list of options within Adobe Stock. Now, I'm not a huge proponent of stock imagery for visual communication, but stock iconography, it tends to be a different beast. You can download vectorized assets in bundles that provide hundreds of icons that all match the same style. This ensures that you have a vast library of icons, all utilizing the same illustration style, while being able to customize them to match the color palette of your final product. Unfortunately, in 30 minutes, I can't share every tip and trick of the trade, but I'm hopeful that this has laid a good foundation for you and has provided you with some takeaways that you can act on immediately. If you want to learn more about data visualization best practices with a complete guide to using the graphing tool in Adobe Illustrator, I highly suggest you check out my LinkedIn Learning course called Data Viz Do's and Don'ts. If you